Unknown is the worst Pokemon of all time. This Pokemon has horrible stats and can only learn a single move, Hidden Power. This is a move that varies in its type and base power depending on the Pokemon's IVs. The best an Unknown can hope for is having Hidden Power Psychic with the max damage of base 70. The only time you'll ever see Unknown in a competitive context is maybe in random battle, where having it on your team is not a choice, but an active detriment. Unknown was clearly not designed to be a successful Pokemon, and in terms of lore and flavor, I would say it's actually very cool. Unknown evokes a sense of wonder and mystery when you encounter it. This Pokemon has 28 separate forms, all resembling different letters and characters. These Unknown characters have been cited in ancient ruins and engravings, which is pretty interesting. Apparently Unknown is said to share a cooperative bond with Suicune, according to Bulbapedia. I don't know what the hell that means, but at least Unknown seems to have a strong ally for assistance on the battlefield. He sure needs it. I recently hosted an absurd Pokemon tournament, where the only legal Pokemon was Furret. You can check this out linked below. The grand prize for the champion of this tournament was that they could request whatever Pokemon related video they want that I had to make, no matter how ridiculous. I have now been tasked by the Furret champion, Louis CL, with this very video, ranking every single one of these Unknown forms. Although all of these Unknown forms have identical stats, I do believe that some of them are better than others, when factoring in things such as their moral compass and the content of their character. Let's explore each of these Unknown forms in detail in my most intelligent video yet. Subscribe to the channel immediately to ensure your own safety. Thank you. When you rank Unknown forms, folks, you gotta start with the beginning, at the very alphabetical order, and that is Unknown A form, who is sort of the alpha of the Unknown universe. It's considered the prime Unknown, and he's kind of like their leader. But does that necessarily make Unknown A the best Unknown form in my eyes? I don't know if that's the case. I think Unknown A might actually have a bit of an ego problem. Being first in the alphabetical order can sort of warp your mind and make you think that you are better than others. I don't know if that's a healthy outlook on life, so we're gonna put Unknown A. You would think it goes in the A tier, but really, I think we're putting it in the C tier. Plus, it barely even looks like the letter A. It looks more like a, I'm not even sure, like a radio tower or one of those water towers. It looks kind of like that. Unknown A goes in the C tier where he belongs. Unknown B, however, is a bit more interesting. It may not look that much like the letter B. It looks more like the number 8, but it does have a circle underneath it. You could perhaps hang something off of this, like a keychain or a necklace, and it has a bit more out of battle utility. If you caught this Pokemon, you could, like, maybe you have a lanyard that you keep your, I don't know, your Pokénav on or something. I don't know what the kids are doing these days. So of all the Unknowns, this is probably the most useful, and now I'd put it in the A tier. Up next is Unknown C, and this is kind of like an avant-garde Unknown. He's sort of rotated in such a way that doesn't look like the letter C that much. Sort of got an enclosed segment here, which you could also use to hang a lanyard from or something, but you would have to be careful of which way the Unknown is rotated. You could sort of use this part as like a handle for the Unknown and hold it like a weapon, and that could be useful, and then this part could be, I mean, you could actually attach a blade to this segment of the Unknown using smithing, and then this Unknown could actually be pretty threatening in battle. So for this, I think we have our first S tier Unknown form right there, and that's pretty smart. Up next is Unknown D, who I think is very visually appealing. It evokes the letter D, but it's a bit artistic too. It's not exactly, I mean, there's a bit missing here. It's almost looks also like it's his hair, you know? It's like a strand of hair, and I think that gives it some character. It not only looks like the letter that it is supposed to be, but it's got a bit more on top, and for that I would give Unknown D an impressive rank of S tier, personally. Not D tier, but S tier, and I think that's fair. This is Unknown E, and Unknown E is an interesting case, because I don't know what this little protrusion here is supposed to be. If you cut that, it looks like the letter E well enough, but this little protrusion is adding some confusion, and it makes me think that maybe this is like a, I don't know, if I look at this and I'm not primed with the knowledge that it is Unknown E, I might think it looks like a compass or something, or perhaps a handlebar. If you turn it, you know, this way 90 degrees, it would look like the handlebar of a bike, perhaps. So I don't know about Unknown E, and I think that Unknown E, there's no E tier, but I think that C tier alongside Unknown A could be appropriate. And this one is kind of crazy, because this is Unknown F. And while Unknown F looks nothing like the letter F whatsoever, I like this visual design. It looks like he has legs with an arm coming out, like a stick figure. And this is maybe like a nose or something, like a beak. It's as if he's a duck character, with an arm pointing this way, living in the second dimension. And, you know, I think visually visually speaking, this is a pretty fantastic unknown. And I think that even though you don't evoke the form that you are supposed to be, visually this is stunning, and I would put it in the A tier. Now this is unknown G, I believe. Unknown G. It looks absolutely nothing like the letter G, but it does have a handle at the top. It is almost like a... What are those? The kettlebells. Those kettlebells that you use to lift weights. So you could, I don't know how heavy unknown is, probably not very heavy, but you could attach some weights to the bottom of this part. It would be very strenuous for the unknown itself, but it could be used for exercise to train yourself up. Beyond that, you could use this for, I mean, you could hang it on a hook, and then like the bottom part, you could put like oven mitts on there. Maybe I could use this in my kitchen. It's a bit immoral though, because I mean, it's a living creature and you're going to use it as a hand. You could literally just get a piece of wood with the same utility, you know. So if in terms of if I'm traveling around with the Pokemon, which is what you're supposed to do with them, I suppose, you could carry this. It's more of like you hang it on the wall. It's not really like, I suppose you could hold it with the handle at the top, but then what are you doing with that? You're hitting them with the pointy end? I don't know. I don't really know about this unknown G. It doesn't look like the G, and it seems like it might have usefulness. It's our first B tier. It's sort of the middle of the road. Now this unknown H is kind of insane, because this looks like the Wii steering wheel that came with Mario Kart Wii. So you could actually probably put a Wii remote on the back of this and just like strap it on and then play Mario Kart Wii. So for that, I would probably put unknown H in the S tier. It doesn't look like the letter H really at all. It's circular, but it's artistic. I think it's artistic, and it's very aesthetic. I actually like the look of this unknown, and I think that you could really do something with that. I would say you could do something with this unknown. Unknown I is very visually simplistic. It's just, you know, the letter I. It does look like the letter I, which is a simple letter. You can't really mess up with such a letter. But it's too simple. There's not enough happening here. And unknown is already an average Pokemon. And I need more from you. I need more from this than just whatever's happening here. So I think that this is actually our first D tier unknown. It's too basic. Now here we have unknown J. And unknown J has a hook at the bottom. So it looks exactly like the letter J, and there's no confusion there. Whatever this is, I don't know, but it's not enough to stop it from looking like what it is, so that's fine. Maybe that's just a little accessory. It's hooked. You could actually stab somebody with this, and that would be useful in battle, you know, like Sacred Sword. Top of B tier. I still feel like it's pretty average though. Unknown K is a special case, because it does not look like the letter K. I gotta be honest, these had to be longer. You make these longer and we're good. But these, as it stands, they're not good enough. However, it does kind of resemble those guys from Super Mario Sunshine and Mario Galaxy that make you fly in the air. You know, those fellas, the little duck characters that you walk up to them and they launch you into the air. And so that is fun and that is interesting, and I would maybe on that alone give you the respect of the A tier. This is unknown L, and many of you know the L, it's a common shortening in modern popular slang to mean like you lost, you have failed, like L, like you've caught an L, they say. And in the case of unknown L, it would be literally true if you did catch him inside of a Pokeball, and that's quite humorous to many, I imagine. And it's a good form, I think, because it is, unlike many of the other unknown forms who their body shape is very straight and uniform, this unknown L bottom segment, I don't know why, but they have given it a little bit more of a spheroid, circular sort of crescent on the bottom of the L, which looks like a shoe. And that is a significant comedic value for one of the more inherently comedic unknown forms, and for that, S tier. This is unknown M. Unknown M is extremely similar to unknown Wii Remote H, but it's the other way around, and it has these two. I mean, this doesn't make you look that much more like M. It looks like you have antennae. I don't know if this is doing it for me. No, unknown H is significantly better design-wise. This is a beautiful unknown. This one, I think that you might struggle to play Mario Kart Wii with this, D tier. Unknown N is the most accurate one to the actual letter, and for that, S tier. Unknown N is spot on. Unknown O, you might think that this is more effective at playing Mario Kart Wii, but actually the design of the unknown H, I think, is far more suited to Mario Kart Wii. It looks exactly like a steering wheel, and unknown O just feels like it's been outclassed in that utility. I think that unknown O probably has to go. I mean, C tier, it is round and uniform looking, which it's very aesthetic, but it's not as good as unknown H, who has it beat completely. In fact, I would put unknown H at the top of S tier out of respect. This one here is unknown P. And unknown P could be held, it looks like kind of like an AirPod. It looks like, you know, it's got a handle you can hold on to. which could be useful. But is it that fantastic? It's pretty simplistic, and I don't know if I'm too fond of it. C tier for Unknown P. This is Unknown Q. Unknown Q is interesting because it doesn't, I mean, it sort of looks like the letter Q if you think about it, but I would say what this looks more like is actually a key. And what's cool about that, you could play, this could be like an item in a 90s point and click adventure game where there's a, you know, there's like a door with an eye on it, but it's locked, and you're like, how the hell do I get into this door? And then you find the key with the eye on it, and you go, oh, of course, that must unlock the eye door from earlier. It's like a visual motif, you know, the key matches the door. That's just what I thought of when I looked at this, and I think that that is smart, and this would allow me access to certain doors. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this the S tier rank. Unknown Q looks like a key. This is Unknown R. This is just Unknown P with a slightly altered, and I think let's put them next to each other. They are brothers, but they're at the same time, who are they? This is Unknown S. It's a good unknown. This is a good one because I think this one, it looks like the letter, but it's also a bit artistic because it has these little stop gaps at the end that look like it has actual limbs. It looks like it's doing, you know, a maneuver like this, and it looks more animated. You could see this one walking, like using its limbs to perform actions and things like this, which cannot be really said of other unknowns. So I think that for that purpose, S fittingly is going in the S tier because it is just spectacular, as the name suggests. And this is Unknown T, which I think, you know, they just chuck a T on an eyeball and call it a day. It looks like those old-time dynamite stick things that you detonators. And I think that A tier is in order for the Unknown T. Personally, this is Unknown U. And Unknown U is kind of cool. It looks like one of those children's toys, those horses that rock back and forth, you know those? So it could probably rock back and forth, meaning it's not going to spend as much energy airborne using its strength to levitate above the ground, which could conserve energy. Maybe that's useful in battle. You could also, like, you can clearly grip it like a weapon, but all it has in terms of combat strength is this little nub at the top, which could puncture somebody, but I don't know if it's powerful enough. But I think that it's a unique unknown form, and I think that A tier is in order for Unknown U. This is Unknown V, which isn't this just strictly inferior to the other kettlebell one? B. Unknown B is the same, but it has... No, this is not Unknown B, this is G, right? That's Unknown G. Unknown G is better. It has and in fact, this is more suited to a human hand, while this is too large. I mean, who is this for? It says a bottle opener? Maybe it's a bottle opener and you could use it to open a... But, like, that's a bit disrespectful to use a Pokemon for such a task. I don't know. It's a bit immoral. So, probably C tier for Unknown V. And plus, it doesn't even look like the letter. If you get rid of this middle segment, it would look like it, but they sort of effed it up. This is Unknown W. And Unknown W, I kind of like it, even though it's simple. I think that it is pretty interesting the way they have gone about this one, because it looks like it's got spiked hair. It looks like the letter W, and W is a shorthand for victory in today's world, which would make it like a smart player's Pokemon. So I think that A tier at the very least is in order for Unknown W, who it's a very stylish unknown, and it's quite interesting in many ways. X, Unknown X, is, well, it looks like a mine at the bottom of the ocean, like in Finding Nemo. It does look like the letter X, you can't deny it. But it does make me think of the Twitter rebranding to X.com. That's all I think when I see the letter X. So for that, maybe it's a B tier. I don't hate Unknown X. I don't hate it, but maybe a B tier is in order. Unknown Y looked like a little bit more anthropomorphized than the other unknowns, and it looks like it has ears or antennae and feet. Plus, it looks like the letter Y. I think that despite its simplicity, I think that they did a lot with a little bit, and Unknown Y. S tier. Unknown Z. Unknown Z is, well, it's visually striking. It looks like it could be a logo for like a tech startup or something. Does it look like the letter Z? I mean, maybe in an abstract sense it does, but would I immediately think so? No, but does that matter necessarily? It's a one factor, but there's many factors. I like the design, and I think that it is pretty artistic, and I would probably put it in the top of the B tier, let's say. I don't think it's on the level of the A tier unknowns. And now we get to the more intriguing unknowns. These ones actually have used an eyelid, which is a part of unknown biology I didn't really think about, but these ones they got the eyelid down, making them look a little bit more disinterested in what's going on. And this one is exclamation point unknown. So exclamation mark unknown. I suppose it does look it looks like, but it's simple, but he's got the eyelid is funny. B tier? And then question mark unknown, I think that it's got a hook on, it's evoking the question mark, it's A tier. It's an A tier unknown, and I would put it above unknown, double unknown, this one. And there's my unknown ranking, folks. I think the best unknown is definitely Unknown H, who does look like it could be used to play Mario Kart Wii, which was a good game. You can play as Funky Kong in the game, so if you consider that, I think we have a clear winner. And I think that these other unknowns in the S tier are all quite interesting in their own ways, with various advantages to offer. And I think that I have fairly assessed all of these unknowns in an in-depth analysis. Thank you for watching, folks. Do you agree or disagree with my various placements, and do you think I've perhaps been a bit controversial here? Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and thank you for watching my best video yet.